that'll wake you up on a Monday. This is a rooster, but not just any rooster. It's called the Kosovo longcrower, and that's for the unique thing it's able to cock-a-doodle-doo. That hoarse-sounding crow can go for a minute and a half. If you're thankful your neighbor doesn't have one, it's because this rooster's native to Kosovo, a country in southeastern Europe, and a man who breeds them there calls their distinctive sound a, quote, beautiful melody. He says they start crowing at about 4 to 5 months of age, and I guess if you like quantity over quality when it comes to a raucous rooster wake-up call, well, the Kosovo longcrower isn't chicken to raise its voice. Hey everyone, I'm Carl Azuz. Welcome back to the world from A to Z. Next, we're bringing you perspective on the war in Ukraine from one of the soldiers fighting in it. Saturday marked exactly 2 years since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of the neighboring country. Experts say Russia's reasons were strategic and political. For one thing, the country's only warm water port, one that doesn't freeze in winter, used to be controlled by Ukraine. Russia annexed or took over that area in 2014. Many countries saw that move as illegal, and it remained concerned about Western influence spreading on its western border. Russia didn't want Ukraine to join NATO, an alliance of European countries along with Canada and the US, and that's something Ukraine had hoped to do. Russia declared more Ukrainian territory independent and then invaded the nation in 2022. Critics say that broke a United Nations agreement that members won't use force against another's territory or political independence. And since the war began, Ukraine says 31,000 of its soldiers have been killed, and international officials estimate that more Russian troops have lost their lives.
If one man's story spanned all 2 years of Ukraine's war, you might expect it had ended abruptly by now. But Alexander is alive. 2 years ago, he remembers shock at Russia's brutal attack, but also Ukraine's bold defense.
Нет, лично не верил, но предусматривал какие-то действия, но все чуть-чуть не подрасчитали сил. Будто бы специально палки в колеса ставил кто-то. Но наши ребята были готовы. Это одни из сильных ребят, которые я знаю и знал.
Serving already 4 years around Mariupol, he had a friend move his family to Denmark, and slowly his unit fell back to the Azovstal plant, unaware of the iconic battle it would become.
What was the worst part of Azovstal?
Минуса — это тогда, когда ты смотришь на своих друзей, да, своих пацанов, которые, короче, ранены, да, ты хочешь оказать им помощь, а ты не можешь.
400 colleagues died, 45 taken prisoner, he said. Surrender, the worst feeling.
Ну, паническое такое, ну, не тоже паническое, там, нехорошее чувство было. Чувство бессилия. Особенно, когда у тебя оружие забирают, все, ты как будто бы голый стоишь.
6 months in prison, the Russian anthem daily, porridge, boiled cabbage, friends dying, and threats of being hung or shot. They ended abruptly.
Мы не знали, что нас освобождают, даже. Потом пересадили нас в автобусы, куда-то опять повезли. Ну, все же были глаза закрытые, никто ничего не видел. Вот. Просто вывели нас. Все, вы на Украине, мы такие в смысле.
He rested and returned to fight in the bitter and bloody southern counter-offensive near Uruzhaine. He says he was grateful to feel fear again.
Have your experiences left you feeling more courageous or more fearful on the front line now?
Нет, я не железный человек, я тоже боюсь. Это хорошо, когда есть страх. Страх, опять же таки, только надо своим страхом совладевать.
And while Western support has slowed, Russia has not.
Тяжело получили, не спорю, но не хочется его тратить. Говорю, они берут количеством, просто количеством. А, соответственно, получается, люди устают. Будет тяжело, но будем стараться.
No end is in sight. He says he does, of course, not want his son to fight in this war. He is 7. Nick Payton-Walsh, Kherson.
On this date in world history. On February 26th, 1909, London movie fans were treated to the first ever public viewing of a film in color. 21 short Kinemacolor films were shown. While that method of filming didn't last, it was the first step in bringing black and white films to life. On this date in 1991, British scientist Tim Berners-Lee presented to his colleagues a new invention called the World Wide Web. It's what he named the world's first internet browser. It was put online later that year and renamed Nexus. The World Trade Center collapse stunned the world on September 11, 2001, but it was also attacked on this date in 1993. That's when a truck bomb exploded in a parking garage below the Trade Center's North Tower. 6 people were killed and more than 1,000 were wounded in what was at the time the deadliest act of terrorism on U.S. soil.
A world of knowledge. A study from 2021 found that people tend to stay up later and sleep less at what time? Autumn, standard time, while on vacation, days before a full moon. Scientists aren't sure of the reason why, but they found that people tend to do this the last few days before a full moon.
If you like staying up later and sleeping in on weekends, like me, a sleep specialist says we shouldn't do it. Apparently, we're at our best when we go to bed and wake up at or near the same time every day, even on weekends, and there are reportedly consequences, especially for teenagers who sleep in more than 2 hours.
Even though it feels like they need that sleep, it's going to set their circadian rhythm off, and that's going to make it harder for them to fall asleep come Sunday night.
She also says social media is a major barrier to sleep for young people. Here's why health officials say quality sleep is crucial.
How you feel during the hours you're awake is largely dependent on the amount and quality of sleep you get. Yet, nighttime rest is often the first thing we sacrifice when life gets busy. During the day, your brain produces a compound called adenosine. As the day ticks by, more is produced. Scientists believe adenosine buildup drives our desire for sleep because that's when the body breaks down the compound. We also have an internal body clock that operates on a 24-hour cycle. It's called the circadian rhythm. It tells our body when we feel alert or drowsy, and it's very attuned and dependent on environmental cues, like light. For example, when you wake up in the morning to sunlight, your body knows to produce cortisol, a chemical which promotes energy and alertness. As natural light fades, your body produces melatonin, which makes you drowsy. Your brain needs sleep to work properly. It uses this rest time to prepare for the next day, forming new pathways to help you learn and retain information. Studies show sleep improves learning and enhances problem-solving skills, and also allows you to pay attention and make better decisions. Sleep-deprived people tend to have trouble in all these areas and struggle with controlling emotions and behaviors. Physically, the benefits of sleep are huge. To name a few, it's vital in the healing and repair of heart and blood vessels. Skipping Z's can lead to an increased risk of many diseases: heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, and obesity. Lack of sleep also weakens the body's immune system, and you're more likely to have trouble fighting off common infections. It affects appetite, hormones, insulin, growth development, the list goes on. And lack of sleep isn't only harmful on a personal level. It impacts others. Sleep deficiency has played a role in tragic accidents, from falling asleep at the wheel to nuclear reactor meltdowns. Even a personal meltdown affects those around us.
Today's World of Viewers is brought to you by the letter O, as in O Canada. That's where we heard from Miss Sapia's or Miss Sapia's or Miss Sapia's class at Esterhazy High School in the town of Esterhazy, Saskatchewan. And moving south, we come to the city of Andalusia. Mrs. Shelnut's class is watching. It's great to see everyone at Andalusia High School in Sweet Home, Alabama. Hey, before we head out today, come with us as we walk the pig. This little animal isn't only cute, it's also a rescue. A good Samaritan saw the piglet being mistreated during Mardi Gras season in Louisiana. So the person managed to get the piglet to the New Orleans Humane Society, from where he's expected to be adopted. His new home will be with a state representative who also happens to own a farm. That's something to wag about. The rescued piglet's name? Piglet. What a poor sign of creativity. There are lots of Piggsabilities, from York Shirley to Herr Ferdinand, Tammyworth to Hamlet, Chester, Pigpenny to Rockford, Chorizo, Roasty, Porch Henrietta, Barbecuity, Tamale, Rudy, and of course everyone's favorite, Boss Hog. You can truly pig out when pigging out a name with Oinkle Carl. I'm Carl Azuz. Thank you for watching The World from A to Z. You mean the world to me.